Will this be the game where Nagi makes his redemption and pushes himself up the rankings? Or will his downfall continue? And will that make Manshine City lose their game against FC Barcha in the Battle of the Defeated? Now, why do I call it the Battle of the Defeated? Well, it's because none of them have won a match yet, so one of the teams will be leaving with their heads somewhat high. Meanwhile, the other team walks out of the Neo-Egoist League being totally owned and defeated. When I first learned that none of the teams had no wins, I was quite surprised. Not by FC Barcha having 0 wins, as we know that it's pretty much only Bachira in that team, with some help from Otoya here and there. But I was more surprised by the powerhouses, Manshine City not having a win, while having players such as Nagi, Ryo, Chigiri, Agi, and a lot of the U20 players. However, when thinking about that, it got me curious to who it would be that will be walking out of the Neo-Egoist League with their first win. And that's what we will tackle in today's video, as I will share my own thoughts to which team I believe will come out winning. And trust me, this is a theory that you have never heard, so if I were you, I would make sure to watch to the end. Anyway, with that long and unnecessary intro out of the way, let's dive right into it. Now, most people believe that this match will be Nagi's reawakening and redemption match, because as we know, he's in a bit of a fall-off right now, with him pretty much being useless in both the Ubers and PXG matches, due to him losing his spark after accomplishing his goal of beating Asagi. As stated before, this match against it was heavily implied that this would be redemption and his way back into the main squad. However, in my opinion, I feel like it would be a bit like a lost opportunity. I love Nagi, and I feel like he's a really interesting character, but for him to have some real character growth, I wish for his downfall to be a bit longer. I've been thinking that it would be perfect if it lasted this whole Neo-Egoist League. But then, as they enter the U20 World Cup, Ego and all of the players tells Nagi how much often burden he is now, that he isn't his usual self, and that I feel like would be the perfect opportunity for him to reawakening himself and discover an ego deep down in himself of wanting to prove them all wrong and show that he's the demon, Nagi Seishiro. Basically just pushing back his reawakening towards the next arc. Now you may ask, what will this mean for the Neo-Egoist League and this current match? Well, let me tell you that this is the perfect chance to introduce a character which I've been dying to see this whole series. Now before you decide to click off this video, yes, I'm talking about Hajime Nishioka. Now who's this guy, and why does he play such an important role? Well, let me explain, because I feel like a lot of people don't even know who this guy is, which I don't blame you for. Anyway, to explain his character, I would need to go back to the first introduction of bluelock. Here we see both Isagi and Kira entering the bluelock facility, and Kira firstly recognizes Okawa and Ishikari. But if we skip over them, then we see that he also recognizes a character who has a really laid-back personality, and that's Hajime Nishioka, or as he was known, the Messi of Aomori, which is nothing to take lightly in my opinion, as that could mean that his playstyle is very alike to Lionel Messi. But here is where the trouble begins, as this is gonna sound dumb when saying it out loud, but we have never seen this guy play. Now you might wonder how that's even possible. Well, you see, in every match where he's been supposed to play in, he's been injured, meaning that he hasn't actually been able to show what he goes for. The biggest thing which we know is that he was in the same team as Baru and Naruhaya, and that he was taken over both of them. Now that might not be the biggest feat, as Baru at that time wasn't listening to anyone, so you wouldn't really want to pick him, but also Naruhaya was basically trash. So it's hard to rate him just by this feat. He also got injured in his game against the World 5, which is why he wasn't in the third selection or the U20 match. So why am I making such a big fuss of a character who can be basically seen as a simple joke character and someone placed in the series just for laughs? Well, it's only because of his name, to be fully honest. I don't feel like being called Messi of Aomori is a small feat. However, where this theory might fall down into obscurity is in the Neo-Egoist League, as we see in the rankings in chapter 246 that he actually has an offer. However, it's the lowest of them all, sitting at only 3 million. What excuse do I have for that? Well, it could very much be that he got in but injured himself right off the bat and didn't get a chance to show off, because it just feels like him having the lowest offer of them have to mean something, right? I'm probably just being delusional and outright stupid, but I believe that Nagi will continue his fall off in this game, and then Nishioka will step up as the striker, and he won't get injured this time. With that established, let's go over what I think will happen in the game. Well, I think that it will start a bit hectic, and the FC Barcha team will use that to their opportunity, and they will just play off vibes, and it will start with Bachira getting the ball and going absolutely insane, and scoring the first goal of the game with his Ginga monster style, like he did in the game against Bastard Munchen. This means that the scores are now 1-0 in favor of FC Barcha. But here is where it will completely switch, as Manshine City will start with the ball. However, it's not Nishioka's time to shine just yet, as Ryo will have control of the ball before seeing Chigiri sprinting up on the left side, and with such a great opportunity, Ryo would be a fool to not pass. So the pass goes to Chigiri, and as FC Barcha doesn't really have any formidable defenders, he's able to sprint through most of them before getting into his golden zone and then making an easy and clear goal. This makes the scores even as both teams now have 1 goal each. But as this has been going on, the masters on the bench has been getting more and more fired up, and they decide to jump into the game. They go a bit back and forth, and the time quickly starts to run out. But as the 3 minutes are about to be over, Lavigno manages to get behind Chris and spots Barcha up on the field. So he passes him, and Barcha uses his B shot to shoot in the ball towards the goal. After that, the masters goes a bit back and forth arguing, but then walk back to their seats. Now as the score is now in FC Barcha's favor, it's a scary time for Manshine City, and this is where Nagi would usually come in and show what he goes for and go absolutely mental on the pitch. However, as I said, it won't happen this game, as instead we will see Nishioka with his aura out, and we can see that he looks extremely fired up. Firstly because the goals and the intensity of the game has been so wild and exciting, but also because he knows that this is his last game, and that he has to do something insane to have a chance of staying inside bluelock. But for some reason he isn't scared when thinking about it, as it's more of him saying it to himself, and realizing that this is the time to show everyone who he really is. Manshine starts with the ball, and it ends up with Rio again. However, Chigiri is having trouble going past Otoya. He looks over to Nagi, but then for the first time decides to keep on looking through the field. He spots Agi, but he isn't in the best position for a pass. But then, as he himself is about to go with the ball, he feels some weird sensation to the right side. He looks over and sees Nishioka looking menacing at him, kind of telling him that if he wants to win, he has to pass. Rio decides to go along with it as he doesn't have any other choice really, and he's also interested in Nishioka and as to why he has such an aura around himself. So he passes, and just as Nishioka gets the ball, Rio notices that how Nishioka controls the ball, it's different, and it's something which he's never seen before. It's controlled, yet very calm and precise. He decides to trust in Nishioka, and they do a couple of 1-2s with each other getting behind some of the players. The defenders quickly notices this, and is first caught off guard, but they know that they can't afford to lose their lead, so they decide to focus all of their efforts on Nishioka, while of course not moving out of position as a cross could come. Nishioka gets to them, however one after one he's able to absolutely embarrass them and destroy them with his insane dribbles. It's like he's one with the ball, and he leaves them in awe as he gets behind them and shoots an insane shot towards the corner of the net which makes the scores even. Rio and Chigiri runs towards him in total shock and asks him how he did that and why he hasn't done that before. He explains that he's always managed to injure himself and hasn't had the chance to show off until now, and they are just in shock that another beast was just lying waiting for his chance to prove himself. Now for the last goal, I feel like it will have kind of the same setup, but with Chigiri helping this time and those 3 moving like a unit. After that, Chigiri runs out on the side with the ball and spots Nishioka in the box and makes an insane cross over to him. Just then, the goalkeeper starts to run out and try to get away the ball. However, it has already reached Nishioka's feet, and he makes a cold chip over the goalkeeper, which goes right into the goal, which gets everyone super hyped up, as they could have never guessed that coming from Nishioka, who's never been able to show himself before. And then Manshine City will end up winning the match, of course, and FC Barcha will walk out of the Neo-Egoist League defeated and not having won a single game. But still, Barcha was able to score 2 goals, which helped his offer a lot. Now I know what you are thinking, as this sounds like complete madness, and trust me, I don't blame you. This is absolutely insane, and if I'm being honest, then it will probably go somewhat like this. However, instead of Nishioka scoring the goals, it will probably be Nagi who gets his redemption back. But still, even with knowing that, I still won't give up hope, as I feel like this is the last chance to get Nishioka into the story. But it can also very well be that he was only made as a joke character, meant to mainly bring attention and excitement towards him, and not to be a real player. Which, if you ask me, would kinda suck, as I've built him up as this insane player in my head, as you might have heard throughout this video. So I'm all in favor for Nishioka to get his spotlight. But now, with my dreaming and yapping out of the way, I want to ask you guys for your predictions on how the Manshine City vs FC Barcha match will go. And most importantly, which team you think will come out victorious. Anyway, if you like bluelock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video which will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.